Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Today we'll be discussing the energy that will be prominent beginning today, the 8th of November, and continuing through the weekend. As you know, we are in eclipse season, and this week's energy, it's going to start out real slow. Monday, Tuesday of this week may even feel like a reprieve of sort from what we've been feeling, and then the energy is going to build up and leading up to the next week's full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. So let's get started. We'll jump right in. There is going to be a lot of fixed energy this week and next week as well. But fixed energy just doesn't want to move. It absolutely does not want to move. It likes where it's at. There's no need to change. So changes can be very challenging for those fixed energy signs. And as the week continues or progresses, and also into next week, we are going to begin to feel some very heavy transitioning energy. So being forced to change for purpose. We are in Scorpio season, and it's all about transformation and rebirth and regeneration and diving deep and lessons learned and all of that. So, Uranus and Pluto and Mercury are all going to be big players over the next the end of this week through the lunar eclipse, and really will carry us through eclipse season. So beginning on Wednesday, we have Mercury is going to join Mars. So they're going to join in the sign of Scorpio. And then Mars is going to square Saturn a little bit later in the day. So this energy can be very pessimistic. It can be very defensive. It's going to force us to look at various areas depending on where your chart sits relative to those energies, and make a reality check and see where we're hitting the mark, where we're not hitting the mark. But this can be very dark, dense energy. It can. So whenever there's a square, and we've got a Saturn square with Mars, let that be motivational. There's momentum here, even though it's a fixed energy sign of Scorpio and also Aquarius. But we are going to be making some changes. Those changes are going to be for good. So now we're beginning to identify how we want to see that transformation manifest, and the energy this week is going to help us do that. And Wednesday, focus on the Scorpio energy. It's going to regenerate us in a direction that better suits us over the long haul. Any restrictions that are imposed typically are there to guide you. It may not feel like it. Sometimes it can be very, very, very frustrating. But that restriction is there to guide you so that you can learn a lesson, so that you can find some motivation to change whatever it is, because something's got to give, basically. But also some of the questions that you may be focusing on Wednesday and into Thursday of this week. Where am I directing my energies? Is it paying off? Why am I doing this? And you're also going to be reflecting on what you have faith in, which can also be a very dark energy. A lot of times, in order for us to find faith, we have to be thrown into a situation that is beyond what we feel is our means or mechanism to deal with it. So you have to grab for faith in order to pull yourself through it. So as this energy begins to build, be very kind to yourself and be very kind to others, because there could be some reconciliation going on for them in the Scorpio season, and with the energy that presents, that's going to get them to regenerate in a different direction. So anyway, Wednesday is going to when Mercury and Mars get together, it's articulation of ideas, but it's also the mind process and being motivated to do things. But with that square in Saturn, there's going to be some restriction in some way, and it's going to create this dichotomy of energies and dichotomy of feelings, if you will. There's a lot of watery energy with Scorpio too. So, with Mars being involved, again, it's watery emotional energy. So I expect that will be occurring for you also. Some emotions coming up from deep and within. It's there for purpose. Now, on Thursday, which is the 11th, Chiron is going to step into the picture. So Mars in Scorpio is going to quincunx Chiron, which is our wounded healer in Aries, but it's retrograde. So this is looking back. Remember, it's a retrograde cycle, so we're going to be looking back. But having the motivation, Mars, Scorpio, regeneration, having the motivation to heal your past, Chiron and Aries, and using any restrictions that are presenting as a catalyst for transformation. Okay? So that any of those early childhood things that may be holding you back or that may have been a crutch in some way may be presenting themselves to you on Thursday. Then on Friday, we've got some really fun energy here. The Sun in Scorpio is going to trine Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces is retrograde. So this can be very optimistic energy. The issues that cropped up on Wednesday of this week, you may be able to use them to your advantage on Friday, or at least extract enough lessons, life lessons, to be able to have a more beneficial outcome. Because Neptune in Pisces is also watery energy, and the Sun is in Scorpio, which is watery energy, there may be tears associated with this. They can be happy tears. They don't necessarily have to be bad tears, but a release of sorts that is going to align with some spiritual solution that leads to transformation. Okay? Then on Saturday, which is the 13th, Saturday, Sunday energy, Mercury in Scorpio is going to oppose Uranus in Taurus. Now, anytime you've got Mercury and Uranus in opposition, Mercury is thought processes or words, right? And you've got Uranus, which is sudden instigation of things out of the blue, or suddenness. This is sudden realizations, sudden thoughts, sudden circumstances that cause you to change direction really quick. Like just complete transformation of a thought process, complete transformation of a reality that you thought you had yourself really grounded in, or a mindset that you had yourself grounded in. And all of a sudden, this clarity comes in, and it's transformational clarity. It is realizing that some of these past limitations that may have been there ever since childhood, early Chiron, Aries and Chiron, so early childhood limitations, and how now you're able to review, how to reflect on that limitation for purpose of transformation, realizing that cycle needed to be in place, or that restriction needed to be in place in order for you to really transform and regenerate in an area that is more rooted in who you are as an individual, before a lot of the denseness of being here on Earth, especially early childhood things, could have piled lots of layers on the onion. We're starting to really peel that back. And with next week's full moon lunar eclipse energy and the nodal axis changing, it is time for us to shed some things. It is time for us to have some of these realizations that come in from out of the blue, almost shocking of sorts, that shift our direction and get us more aligned with our true north node, but also that because the nodal axis is shifting as well. So with that said, that's a lot going on this week. And like I said, Monday, Tuesday, today, tomorrow are going to be fairly calm days, unless you feel this energy in advance, and I most certainly did. Help me to really, I went deep, and I had to make some significant changes, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, how I applied it to myself. But it's this energy is going to lead us to an entirely different direction, that's rooted in who we are at the core. We've got Neptune here, and we can rely on that Neptune in Pisces energy and the retrograde cycle. It's, esoterics, it's imagination, it's intuition. So these are the things that we can focus on, how we want to feel at the end of this regenerative cycle. Use your imagination and picture yourself in the most advantageous outcome imaginable. Just throw yourself into it and allow yourself to root in that feeling as you come through some of these transformational realities that we'll be presenting. It's important to ground yourself in emotions for the purpose of reflection and realization. It is Scorpio season, which is very watery. We've got Pisces, also very watery. And when you allow yourself to root in the emotion of how you want to feel at the end of this transformational phase, that is going to be what pulls you through it, and allows you to regenerate and align with that feeling and learn any lessons that are necessary, or realizations of restrictions which were necessary in order for you to make that realization moving forward. So last weekend, I got myself in an absolute funk. Again, the Mars and Mercury joining and then squaring Saturn, had myself in the complete dark place about the videos, about the time that I've spent producing videos, and for whatever reason, I lost sight of my purpose intended. When I made these videos, the purpose intended was to help people through this 3D to 5D transition, understanding energy the way I do, and the intuition that I have that allows me to see things a little bit differently, and perhaps maybe a little bit more deeply than others. I can really translate how this energy is, and if I can help people, even just one person, then it's worth my time. Well, I had myself so off the mark. I was so wanting to see the outcomes. Again, Saturn stepping in and causing things to just, I kept hitting a brick wall and kept hitting at a brick wall, and lost my job, and no income coming in whatsoever. And realizing that if I could just monetize this, then, you know what? I've lost sight of why I started it. And it took me to a very dark place in order for me to make some of these realizations. And it took those limitations to help me understand, and those restrictions to help me understand and get rooted in why I'm doing this. I was prepared to make a video today that would help me move on in a way, say goodbye, say thank you so much for tuning in over the course of almost a year now. And within 24 hours, and using my imagination, using the watery aspects of Neptune and Pisces, and listening to my intuition, and getting back to the root of why I started this, I am absolutely devoted to the task at helping humanity transition from 3D to 5D. And if it's no more than paying attention to energy and putting in, hours weekly, and feeling to the depths that I do, and then translating that back, is a very simple price to pay to help people, even if it's just one person, to help one person make this transition a little bit more easy for themselves, then I'm hitting the mark. It doesn't have anything to do with monetizing or any outcome, actually. other than helping people. So that was my journey last weekend. Like I said, it got real dark for a period of time, so I expect that as you go through this reconciliation process that is going to be coming this week and into next week, I'll give yourself some space. So please be mindful of how you're speaking to yourself. Be mindful how you're speaking to others. And most importantly, if you can step out of the current situation and review it like it's a play, like you're not a player in the play, you're observing the play, it makes things less personal for you. And you can feel the emotions of a situation without letting those emotions just drive you down so deep that you can't see where a restriction is helping you. It's important to limit the amount of feeling you have if in fact it's going to send you down a rabbit hole that you don't feel that you're going to be able to get yourself out of. Disconnect. Picture yourself as watching a movie and the star is you in that movie. Separate yourself from it. And then be mindful as we move about this week and next week, and we've got some very strong energy next week as well, leading up to the full moon lunar eclipse. Be mindful what others are going through, because it's important that we acknowledge that other people are going through very similar circumstances, and we want to give them the peace that's necessary in order for them to do that without having them without us having to step into that energy and participating in their play as things play out. Take time to appreciate your own transformational process. I'm a very appreciative person today for allowing me to go through the things I had to go through during some of those dark hours and dark moments, so that I can really, really, really appreciate and get back to the reason why I'm doing this, and that is truly to help. And I hope that I've helped you today. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please put them in the comment box below, and I will reply back as quickly as I am able. If you like this video, please do like it. And if there are those that you feel could be helped by this video, please further my cause by sharing this message with them. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous week. Namaste.